Hello my beautiful angels, welcome on my channel. It's Peaceful Paradise 7. Today I want to do a video number 3. We have talked about how to successfully date for marriage, and in video number 1 I've talked about how to date, how to do your profile, how to find the right person. Video number 2 was also very detailed about how and when and how to present yourself, what to do on dates, what not to do on dates. However, as you can imagine, you can't learn everything in one video. It's just impossible. There's so many nuances, so many different stories and things that you need to pay attention to, and things that you need to become as well. So it's just impossible to do it in one big go. And if you truly think about dating, and if you are really focusing on that, then please watch this video as well, and if you want, come back to my other videos, okay? I believe in order to be successful in dating, it's all about the intention. So you need to understand your intention first in order to find the right person for you. Right now I've seen so many people, so many women on social media crying, shaming men, saying that men are worth nothing. And I also see the same women who are literally going for that 10% of men, 10 top percent of men. And I want to tell you the truth that we're not all gonna be able to date millionaires, and we're not all gonna be like able to settle down with a very rich family. And I also want you to understand this is not necessary for you to have a very successful and beautiful and true loving relationship. So if you listen to any of those people, I would just say maybe stop. Because if you listen to people who don't walk their path, it's like going to a dietitian who is obese and you expecting her to do your diet. I mean, I wouldn't, right? So I would suggest, if you're taking any advice from anybody, even from a friend, make sure that friend has successful relationship. But it's not just about what you're gonna do and how you're gonna act, it's all about you. So if you're being very modern woman, and if you can do it all, and if you interrupting him when he talks, if you leading with your money, so if you're doing all those sorts of mistakes, but then you're expecting him to provide, then you're expecting him to pay, you're expecting him to protect you in so many different aspects, and he doesn't deliver, no wonder you're gonna cry. If you're expecting him to be a gentleman, but you're going to bed with him on the second day, then what does it say about you? In order to be treated in the right way, you need to treat yourself like the most loving, the most successful, the most beautiful person in this world. So treat yourself with the utmost respect, and I promise you, the right person is gonna find you, and he's gonna claim you, and he's not gonna let you go no matter what. I think it all starts with the intentions. Our intentions are crucial, okay? And I understand some women who only try to find a rich husband, but I'm gonna tell you, you're gonna fail. If all what you're trying to do is find a rich husband, then you're gonna reject a lot of other good guys who has so many other different benefits and skills and can be so successful in life, but you just can't see it now. You know what I mean? So don't always go for look, and never go just for money. Okay? Your intentions are crucial. Some people date because they want to have companionship. Some people date because they want to have somebody to go to bed with. Some people date because they just want to say, look, I have a boyfriend, because that's what society tell them to do. But some people date to get married. When you date to marry, it doesn't mean that you're gonna marry every single person on your way. I think we need to put it out there. Just because you date to get married, that doesn't mean that you're gonna marry the first person that comes along, the first guy that goes on his knee. That doesn't mean that you are desperate. And I think that's how society portrays it these days. So when I said to my friends, when they asked me how I met my husband, I said, I met him on Tinder, and they just cannot believe that my husband is such a good protector and provider. And they ask me what I've put on my profile, and I always say the same thing. I said that I wanted to have a beautiful family, I wanted to get married, and I wanted to create a beautiful house. So in my profile, I was never shy of putting what I want. I was never shy of speaking my own truth. So when you date to marry, it doesn't mean that you want to get married to everybody on your way. It doesn't mean that you want to get married to the first person that's going to go on his knee and ask you to get married. It means that your intention of dating them and getting to know them on a deeper level is to see if marriage is a possibility. So people who date to marry don't typically stay in a relationship if it won't eventually lead to marriage. Some people do, because they still have that faith that that guy is going to propose one day, but that's a different story. So let me get to the point and let me tell you what you can do to prepare yourself and what you can do to find your husband. So only seek those who fit your intentions, and be intentional with your questions. You need to know prior to dating what you're looking for. What do you consider to be a successful relationship? What you gonna bring to your marriage? What you gonna bring to your dating? What's your dating strategy? Okay? When you go out on date, don't waste your time about bragging about your previous relationships. Don't ask him questions that doesn't make any sense. Be very intentional with the questions that you're asking, because this way you can save so much time. If you really know that that person is not for you because maybe he's very conservative, or maybe he is following the wrong political government party, like you name it. There are some things that are so important for some of us, you just can't let it go. You know for a fact that this guy doesn't want to get married, okay? He doesn't even consider the option, and he said he's not going to be ready for the next 10 years, and you know you're ready now. Stop wasting your time with that guy, because what you want doesn't fit with what he wants, and vice versa. So you're gonna make him miserable and you're gonna make yourself miserable. I always ask, what's the point? So try to find the best match for yourself, okay? Create a love list and make sure that the person that you eventually gonna marry, he needs to match about 70 to 80% of that love list, okay? And why it's so important? Because there's some things that we can work on and some things that you just can't work on them, okay? Some things that are so not negotiable. Like for me, it's anything with regards to alcohol. If the person would be abusing alcohol, any sort of drugs is a no-no for me. Any sort of abusive situation within his family, you need to look at this. But I also want to say, and I also want to add, that let's say if you had some sort of traumas that are very much beyond what normal person can advise you on, and then you meet somebody who has been through the same situation, sometimes it's easy to accept that because you've been in that situation as well, okay? So it's gonna be different for different people. When you do your love list, when you write the things down, what you actually want, stop listening to all the voices and noise outside. Just really go deep into yourself and ask, like, what do you really want? How you really want your life to be? This is crucial. Point number 3 is do not settle for less, but also do your research and make sure that you're not the person who always seeks flaws in another human being. I've seen a lot of women who, I was guilty of this as well. When I didn't know what I wanted, when I was just kind of trying to navigate around that online dating world, I was quite confused about what I'm looking for, what I truly wanted, whether I want to stay in England, whether I want somebody from England or from Poland. And it was just so difficult. I could sense that my choices for the dates were not the best. And but to be honest, I would never ever say that it was men's fault. Like, I always appreciated their time, I appreciated the conversation, I wanted to get to know them more. Even when I have feeling like maybe this is not for me, I always gave them a chance. But I've seen women who would walk in on the date and they would see that there is something tiny wrong with a guy, and she would just leave without saying anything, or maybe even worse, she would comment on that thing. Like, I had a situation where the guy was quite short, much shorter than I was, and it's just not uncomfortable for me because I'm quite tall person. Okay, I understand if I would be much shorter, then he would be perfect for me, but he was much shorter than I was. I didn't say a comment about it, even though he had something different in his profile, so it was a lie from, you know, from his side. You know, we've enjoyed the date, we went on a drink, I've appreciated the time that we had, even though it wasn't just the height, it was the overall personality, everything that was matching and didn't match, and the way he was talking. So it was a no for me, but I didn't make a drama about it, I didn't say F you, bye. I just had amazing time with him. Okay, so try your hardest to appreciate other people rather than seeking what's wrong with them. And when I said do your research, obviously understand that a guy who makes certain amount of money, it doesn't say anything about that guy right now. First of all, there is a big possibility that he can definitely make more in the future. Secondly, it's all about how he can save money, how he can invest money, how is he living currently, and also about his all other traits. So is he a polite person? Is he a gentleman? Is he gonna treat you well? Is he gonna protect you? You can see it in all small different daily routine tasks. You can really understand man way before you even engage with him or even the marriage date. So how he treats his family, oh my god, so important, because it's, you know, it says a lot about him as well. And don't be afraid about the the mother's issue, because if he loves you, and it, you know, the God said that a guy needs to leave his family and be 100% devoted to his woman. So don't be afraid of things like this. Point number 4, make sure you have common goals. And common goals is not something that, when I say common goals, it's not about whether he goes to gym and you go to gym. I mean, it's a nice addition thing, okay? But just because he trained right now, that doesn't mean he's gonna be, you know, he's gonna be doing that 2, 5, 10 years down the line. The goals that I'm talking about needs to be way bigger than what you can see now on the surface. So what you're both aspiring to, how you can see your life in the next 5 to 10 years. Do you want to stay in this country? Do you want to go out of this country? Is it still a question mark? You're still both not sure, you can still work on it. Let me tell you that when things getting really wrong in life and very difficult, the common goals, it's something that's gonna keep you both together. It's not about the looks, really. It's not about how much money he's making or how much money you're making right now. What you going towards? What you both trying to achieve? Can you help one another with achieving that thing? Or it's so completely different that rather than going to the same direction, you're gonna go this way and he's gonna go that way, okay? And step before you even start dating, it's ask yourself, what's your intention and are you ready to get married? A lot of my friends, my previous friends and my current friends, female friends, that you know, that are still single, they always tell me, I definitely want to get married, Annabella, I kind of want to have the life that you have. But then they're gonna shame men on every single occasion, and I'm just listening to this and I feel like, how do you want a good man to be in your life if you don't allow him to even come close to you? If you're making such a big wall in front of you with all those thoughts about men are like this and they gross and they shouldn't be even talking to us. So I'm like, if you believe every man are gross, why you want to even get married? You need to really pay attention to your thoughts, what you think, how you speak, how you communicate, how you even communicate to yourself. If I can say like one most important step, I actually think it's gonna be that one. You know, there's absolutely no point on starting everything and creating the profile and going out and speaking to your family member to introduce you to somebody if you're not ready emotionally. There are certain things that you both gonna work on while you're dating, and there's certain things you both gonna, you know, aspire to be, and you both gonna grow once you get married. But this step is the most crucial. It's like dating a man who hates women. Can you imagine dating a guy like this? So ask yourself, what's your intentions? Okay? Again, we're coming back. Intentions are crucial. Are you ready to get married? Are you doing it because you feel lonely or because everybody else has somebody? If this is your only reason why you want to get married, then you're gonna give that desperate vibe to everybody. You know, you're gonna be like, you're gonna be a pick me. You're gonna feel like you need to pick me because I'm so lonely and I'm gonna do everything for you. So what do you want to create? What sort of life you imagine to have? What are you looking for? Who do you want to be in that relationship? Announce to the world that you're ready for it. Important thing before marriage and after marriage, and I will definitely talk about it much more in my next video, but if you want to say yes to this man, you need to trust him with your own heart. You need to have that trust. And this is a bit hard step for me to explain, because I don't want you to trust any sort of guy that's gonna come in, you know, within your rotation. You need to have your intuition ready. You need to have it on stand. You need to know who is a good match to you, who's going to treat you well. And only then, when you can feel that within you, like, yes, this is him, he is a good person and we can definitely create something with one another and I'm ready for it, and he's all in. He showed you, he courtship you, he did so many other different beautiful things for you, like, you know, this is him, then you need to give him that trust. Rather than accusing people of everything, rather than trying to grab his phone and see, you know, show me who you're texting to and what you're doing. I'm not saying that he shouldn't really give you his phone, but I don't really see the need and feel to check the guy's phone, because I'm like, you either have that trust or don't. And I know the trust needs to be built, but on certain level, you need to trust him with your life. If you want to give yourself to a guy, the trust is something that, you know, it's gonna guide you with the rest of your life. Can you imagine being with somebody without trust? I can't. I have to trust my husband that he's gonna be able to lead us financially. I have to trust my husband that he's gonna be a good father. I have to trust that he's gonna look after me. I have to trust that he has everything together. Like, there's on so many levels, I had to give him that trust. And even within like small things, you know, sometimes when you get mad on somebody, it doesn't matter when you're dating, when you're already married, but you're just mad on that person. And if you're gonna be suspicious of the worst thing, you're gonna resent him, you're gonna hate him, you're gonna say everything is his fault. But when you know that he has your best interest in heart, and maybe what he's done wasn't intentional, maybe what he's done was just his protective mechanism, or maybe it triggered him in the way that you don't understand. Maybe you actually said something and now you're blaming him for not doing the right thing. Or maybe you said something that triggered him and now you're blaming him that he's not a responsible person. You really need to look into that. Don't assume that he wants to harm you. Because if you already did all the steps that we've talked about, that trust, it needs to be given to another human being. And then the last thing is, check if your partner is emotionally mature and available. Sometimes it's difficult to check it, but the way you ask your questions, the way he answers you, the way he treats other people around you, the way he speaks, you can get so many clues about that guy. You just need to start listening. And I think as women, we just talk too much on dates rather than listening to what he's saying, what he's presenting to us, we talk and talk like there's no tomorrow. On a few first dates, I've seen ladies who talked about their previous exes, how badly she's been treated, how many problems in life she has. She would sell herself so cheap. That's how I like to call it. She would give all this information for nothing to a stranger person, and he was just enjoying the show. Or maybe not. In order to find out whether this person is mature and ready to get married, you need to ask yourself if he can give you the lifestyle that you want. And I'm also talking like financially, but also spiritually and family-wise. Is he the one talking about getting married? Look at his circle as well, his friends, his closer family. Are they all single? Are they all cheaters? Can you see whether they respect their wives, they respect their sisters, their mothers? Just look at him and his closest circle. If you see that all his friends going out to Ibiza and they're getting to the strip clubs, and like, if this is all he's seeing, then don't expect that he's gonna be different towards you. It's so hard to be if you're within that circle. Can he realistically give you the lifestyle that you want, that you aspire to? Because as I said in my previous videos, being a tradwife is not for everybody. So if you are the person who wants to work, you don't want to stay at home, you need to communicate that with him. You need to see that you are on the same ground and you understand one another. You know how you both can support one another, how you can contribute to the family. Important things like this. So does he have a time for me? Is he willing to see you in every spare minute of his life, even when he's super busy man, or he's always have excuses? He needs to see his friends, his family, he's busy with work. Anybody can make excuses these days. Everyone's so busy these days. We've got media, we've got phones, we've got laptops, we've got TV. Internet and television takes a lot of our time every single day. No wonder nobody has a flipping time for another human being. No wonder. So if he's always and constantly busy, especially when you need him, it's a nice clue that he's not for you. Is he willing to pursue you on your terms? Or is he trying to persuade you that you are wrong and you need to believe, do or say whatever he's saying? Those men who, rather than stepping up, they're gonna try to bring you down and say whatever you believe is wrong and you have to believe what he believes. I mean, if you meet anyone like this, run. Just run and don't look back. I've met a few guys like this and I knew straight away, thank you very much, not for me. There was a guy I was dating. He was very successful man. He had a big aspiration, big goals. He was literally ready for everything that I wanted. So kids, marriage, he wanted to introduce me to his family straight away. He said his mom's gonna love me. So everything was going so well until he started to convince me that opening the door for a woman is wrong, and doing some sort of small things that I always appreciate men do for me. Rather than doing it, he would try to persuade me that this is all wrong and this is all in my head. And I didn't even want to chat about it, to be honest. He was the one talking and talking and talking and talking. I'm like, okay, yeah, that's fine. I understand. And he would go on another subject, and I can see he's just, I can see that trying to explain anything to this man wasn't really me. Another situation can be if you want to wait, with going to bed till that day, and he's trying to convince you that you need to do it right now because you need to test one another, or you need to prove him that you love him. I mean, run again, okay? Any respectable man will be able and will be willing to wait as long as necessary. If he's not for you, that's how you know he's gonna try to break your boundaries rather than respecting them. The next one is he respecting your boundaries? When you say no, he step back and don't push for anything that you are uncomfortable with. Example, going on holiday and stay in the same room. These days what men can do, they can offer you a nice luxury expensive holidays. I don't want you to feel obligated, and I don't want you to fall into this trap. It's so rare when the guy who you date and who you know will offer you to go on holidays with him, but he's gonna get another room for you. A lot of those men, they will insist to get one room, and I think you know where that leads to. So anything you know feeling comfortable with, and he's trying to break that boundaries, to break that rule, to try to convince you or explain you rather than just stepping back and accepting it, you know he's not good. And I would just say stop wasting your time, because few dates down the line, few meetings down the line, you're just gonna agree to what he's saying, knowing that this is not what you want. So does he have enough money to provide the lifestyle that you want? Now ladies, please don't ask him how much money he makes on the first dates. This usually doesn't sit right with men, and don't believe everything what you see on social media. We'll be taking more about how to verify him in the next chapter. Now we're gonna take in general. Okay. Does he have enough money to provide the lifestyle that you want? Just because he's handsome, and just because he is cute, and just because he talks sweet words, that doesn't mean that he can actually provide anything for you. This is all about his spending habits. As I said, it's not really about how much he is making, but how much money he saves and how much money he can provide for the family. Is he buying 10 million shoes and then he's saying he doesn't have money to go on a date with you? Again, that's your clue. Don't date people like this, okay? And please don't ask men how much they're making, because it's just rude. Again, I've seen some women who's been doing that. I've seen some women doing that, and it just doesn't sit right with the guys. They don't like that. I mean, maybe very few, if you're asking in the right way or there is a right situation for that, maybe you can ask. Sometimes you just use your common sense and knowledge, okay? If he tells you that he does this or in this and that company, it's not difficult to go online and just check how much this company is paying. So make sure he's ready emotionally. So when he's talking about his ex-partner very often, especially when he's saying bad things about her, you know he hasn't been healed properly. And again, you go your own way. It doesn't really matter whether he has all sorts of different good traits. If he still has this, good or bad, it doesn't matter. If there is still a connection between him and somebody else, and this is a strong connection, it's going to be so difficult for you, you know, at some point that's going to create problems. It's going to be so difficult for you to live with that knowledge that he's not 100% there for you. And I cannot imagine being with somebody who's not fully present with me. I wouldn't like to be with somebody who's not investing in me 100%, his time, his commitment, his emotions. And even if he's talking good things about that human being, you know, it can be his ex-wife or it can be his ex-partner, but if he's constantly and every single time when you see him talking about her, that's really not good, because that means that he's still investing in her at some point, you know, he's still investing emotionally. Because she's still on his mind. And especially when he said something bad. I'm not saying that everybody needs to have a beautiful relationship with the mom, with the sister, but if he's going to be sharing that information very early throughout the dating process, don't feel like this is sweet, okay? If somebody would be sharing his personal information that he hates his mom because she's done something so wrong to him on the first date, I know he's not emotionally stable. Normal emotionally stable person would never share it with a stranger people, like with a stranger guy or a woman. That's exactly my next point. Do not overshare with them as well. Don't share your personal stories, your personal information. I've heard women saying, he needs to take me as I am. If he doesn't understand me, he's not good enough. Or, you know, things like so disgusting things. What used to be out of order back in the days, nobody would tell about it, nobody would discuss it. These days, we're sharing it on the first or second meeting. We feel like everybody needs to know everything about us. And I'm not saying be close and never share your hardships, but get the right people to share it. I heard, especially when I was studying, when I was at the university campus, there was a lot of situation when my guy's friend would talk about the stories that they would hear on the first date from different women. And you know, they would always said that women are bonkers these days. They were afraid of dating anybody because every single time when they would go on a date, she would be crying, she would be talking about her personal stuff and that she's not good with this. Like, you don't need that. Dating is just that beautiful stage when you can share some information, but there is a limit. There is definitely a limit to that. So later on, when you get engaged, or I would say even after marriage, you can share some informations, nothing too deep, nothing too personal, maybe like a funny story from there and there if the conversation will go on that topic, but don't overshare, even with your husband. I feel like your past life is your past life. I'm not the person that I used to be in my 16, 18, 20-year-old. I'm a different person. Why do I have to overshare things that I've done back then? Is your partner ready in the same way to take that relationship to the next step? And there is no any other way of finding this out until you're going to ask about it, until you're going to talk about it. So never leave important conversation for after married. Get the important questions early on the table. Ask them all the questions that you don't want to ask them, because if there is a question you're really afraid to ask, that means you need to ask this question. You need to fire that girl and you need to hear that truth answer. Too many of us live in a lie. Too many of us know that something is wrong with the guy, but they will never ask because of whatever reason. Some things that you're gonna ask are rude, but some things are necessary to ask. I've known a man who dates several different women and he was married with kids. When I asked him about it, I was like, first of all, are you not ashamed of this? Do you think that's okay to do it? And how does your girlfriend respond to this? And he said to me, well, they never ask about this. Women never ask me whether I'm married or not. And I said to him back then, they don't ask you because they would assume that things like this supposed to be spoken like prior to getting on with one another. You would assume that man owns you the truth, but in reality he doesn't own you anything. If he would have 5 wives on the go, he doesn't own you the truth. He doesn't have to tell you. And I would ask him, what if somebody's gonna ask you? What if somebody's gonna ask you, are you married? Would you say the truth? And he said yes. If somebody's gonna ask me, I would then say I'm married and have 2 kids, but I can still do whatever. It's crazy out there. Absolutely crazy. But don't assume that the man is owning you any truth, and without asking you will never know. So I hope that was useful. I think we're gonna stop there because I truly wanted to make a bit shorter videos rather than going on and on and on. So I hope that was something that you can take with yourself and think about the questions, really write them down, really put that into motion, and I will see you in the next video. I really want to do like a series of dating videos, so also for myself, so I have something for my future generation, for my future kids, something that I can go back to and even share that knowledge with them, because I know 5-10 years down the line, a lot of things that I'm discussing now, it's gonna disappear, you know. So I'm really glad that I can make them videos, and I'm really glad that I can share it with you guys. I love you so much. Bye, my beautiful angels. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, and leave me a comment below. Bye.